Hello friends, welcome to Crack Gate CSE, and in this series of database today we'll be understanding join algorithm. So this join algorithm fall under the queries chapter. So I haven't discussed this topic over there because the questions has not come since 2008. So there is only one question which I have noticed that came in GATE 2008. That means 12 years ago. So because of that I haven't thought that this topic is important, but as so many of the subscriber has requested me to complete this topic, so here I am bringing this topic explanation along with that previous year GATE question which came in GATE 2008. So here we will be understanding what is join algorithm, what are the different assumptions that we have to make, what are the different types of join algorithms that we have, like nested loop join algorithms, block nested loop join algorithm, what is the definition of both of these algorithms and how they differ, what is the working of these algorithms. So we will be having a complete explanation. I will be providing the complete explanation regarding these join algorithms, and once the explanation is done I will be coming up with the GATE 2008 question which came on this topic. So before that I would like to request you to please subscribe the channel, press that red button which is below the video, and press the bell icon which is on the right hand side of that particular button to show your love and support so that I can bring more such videos for you. Now let's move on to this join algorithm. So these join algorithms are used to perform the natural join and conditional join. So in the queries chapter we have discussed that there are two kind of join. One is natural join, other one is conditional join. So we can perform both of these join using this join algorithms. There is slight change in natural join and conditional join. You can easily do that because I already discussed in the queries chapter. So now what are the basic assumptions that we have to make? So we are considering two relations. One is relation R, another one is relation S. So the relation R is having n record and occupies x blocks. So in R we are having n records and x blocks. Similarly in relation S I am having m records and y blocks. And I am considering that R is a outer relation, S is a inner relation. What does it mean? That means if you want to access any of the record you have to go to R first, then you can go to the S. This is what it does mean. Now let's try to understand the first variety, which is nested loop join algorithm. So as the name suggests that it is nested loop join algorithm, we will be having loop within the loop. If you see this pseudo code, right? So it uses the record number of R and S. So what is the record number? M and N. So the nested loop join algorithm uses the record number of relation R and relation S for loop variable for join. So here you can see that this is a join. So this is a natural join, and if you are having some condition, you can put a condition in a if statement within this pseudo code. So you can easily do that. So in nested loop join algorithm, the pseudo code clearly explains that we are having a loop within the loop, because of which it is named as nested loop join algorithm. So we'll be visiting the first record of the relation S, which is the outer relation, and we'll be mapping that relation with all the other relations of the S relation, right? How? Let's see. This is the particular diagram. So this is the relation R and this is the relation S. So here you can see that I am having n records and here I am having m records. So if we consider this for loop, the relation 1, the first relation of this R. So here we are talking about the record of relation R, and this m is the variable which shows the records of relation S, right? So we will be taking the first record of this relation R, which is R1, and we will be mapping it to the tuples of relation S one by one. So we will be starting from 1 and we will be moving up to m. So from 1 to m, all these records will be mapped with the record of R, which is R1. So R1 will be mapped with S1, S2, S3 and so on until this Sm. right? So here you can see that for this one record you have to access all the blocks of S. So here I am having Y blocks. That means Y blocks access is required for this one record. Similarly, now this I will be incremented. That means for this R2 also you have to start mapping from S1. So R2 will be mapped with S1, then with S2, then with S3, and so on till Sm. So for all the records you have to access all these Y blocks, right? And you have to access all these X blocks as well, right? So there is a drawback with this nested loop join algorithm, which is more access cost is required if main memory space which is allocated for join is very less. So we'll be understanding this drawback with some test cases. So I'm having 3 test cases over here to explain you the drawback of this nested loop join algorithm. So this drawback is overcome using the block nested loop join algorithm. Now let's move on to the block nested loop join algorithm. So in block nested loop join algorithm, it uses the block number instead of the record number, which you can see that in the loop variable. So the loop variable is X, which is the number of records, number of blocks in relation R, and in the second loop we are having Y, which is equals to the number of blocks in relation S. So instead of using M and N here, we are using X and Y. We will be mapping all the records of respective block of R with the respective block of S. How? Let's see. Initially the value will be I, that means we are on the first block of relation R, and this J is 1, that means we are on the first block of relation S. So we will be mapping all the records of first block of relation R with all the records of the block in a relation S. So this R1 will be mapped with all the relations in this block. So R1 is mapped with S1 and R1 is mapped with S2. Now we will be moving on to the next record of block in R. So this R2 will be mapped with S1 and this R2 will be mapped with S2. So this J is equal to 1 is done. Now J is incremented. So J is equals to 2 this time. So now we are on to the second block of relation S. But here we are still on the first block. So do not get confused with it. I mistakenly did this. Now for the second block of S as well, the R1 will get mapped with the S3, right? And this R1 will be mapped with this S4. Now this R2 will be mapped with S3 and this R2 will be mapped with S4. Similarly, the I will be incremented, the J will be incremented and it will be at B3. So again R1 will be matched with S5 and S6, then R2 will be mapped with S5 and S6. So similarly, we have to access the blocks in this particular relation. So here you can see that for one block of relation R, we have to access Y blocks, right? But in the previous one that we have discussed, which is nested loop, in nested loop, see here, for each record we have to access the Y blocks. That means for the N records we have to access Y blocks, that means N times Y plus these X records. So this is the access cost. But if you see here, we are accessing these Y blocks X time because we are accessing every time when we have a new block in this R. So we will be accessing all the blocks in this R, that means X blocks plus how many times we are accessing this Y block? Y time for one block. So for one block, if we are accessing Y time, for X blocks we will be accessing it X into Y times, right? So similarly you can see the difference. Here it is X plus N into Y, but here it is X plus X into Y, and we know that N is double than the number of blocks because in each block we are having 2 records. So similarly you can see that the access cost is much lesser than the nested loop in the block nested loop join algorithm, right? So now we'll be moving on to the test cases. So I'm having 3 different test cases to support the definition, and you will be also having a clear idea that how the things are working. Now let's quickly move on to these test cases. So these test cases, you can consider them as a question, because in actual gate questions what they will do is they will give you the value of this n, this m, and x and y, and on the basis of this value you have to find any these kind of excess cost in the equations. Then you can put the values in these equations to get a value, and you have to answer that value. So these kind of questions can be asked as the multiple objective, and they can also be asked as the numerical type questions, right? So let us consider the case 1. So in case 1, there are only 2 blocks of main memory are available for join. What does it mean? That at any respective time you can access only 2 blocks from these relations in the main memory. So at any time 1 block of R and 1 block of S can be stored in the main memory, because if you consider both of the blocks of R, then it is not possible for you to perform the join operation. Similarly, if you take both of the blocks of the relation R, then you will not be able to perform the join operation with relation R. So what we have to do, the best possibility is to take one block from relation R and another block from relation S. Now we have to find out the excess cost. So how you can find out the excess cost? See, I am taking one block of relation R and one block of relation B. So in nested loop join, we have to join this first relation with all the records of the other relation. So R1 will be joined with S1, then R1 will be joined with S2. Once this is done, you have to remove this block and you have to insert a new block. That means the next block, which is block 2. So which will be having the records as S3 and S4. Then you will be mapping R1 with S3 and R1 with S4. Similarly, you will be removing this and inserting the next one, that is B3. So you will keep on doing the same until the BY, that is the last block of S relation, is found. So you will be joining the R1 with all the relations in such way. So for one particular relation you have to access all the Y. Similarly, for this second relation also you have to access this Y blocks. So for these n relations you have to access the Y blocks. Apart from this, you have to access the block of the R relation one by one. That means the X blocks that you are having in the R relation are also needs to be accessed one by one. So n into Y plus I will be adding here X, because X blocks are needs to be accessed. So this is exactly the same thing I discussed quite before. Now let's discuss the excess cost for the block nested loop join. So this is the excess cost for nested loop join, and in block nested loop join again we have to take one block from the relation R and one block from the relation S. So but there is a difference in the nested loop join algorithm and block nested loop join algorithm. Here we have to map one record with all the other records of the another relation, but here we have to map in a block wise manner. What does it mean? It means that this R1 will be mapped with S1 and this R1 will be mapped with S2. Now we have to map this R2 with S1 and this R2 with S2. That means we will be completely mapping all the blocks of the relation S. So this block is done. Now we will be removing this block and inserting the new block, which is B2. Now there will be S2 and S3. and now we'll be mapping R1 with S2, R1 with S3. Similarly, R2 with S3 and S4, right? So these two blocks are done. Similarly, we have to insert the Y blocks, right? Now what is the difference? So prime difference over here is that we are working on the basis of the blocks. So how many times we have to access a new block? First time we have to access, for one block we have to access all the Y blocks. So overall how many blocks are there? X blocks. So for these X blocks we have to access all these Y blocks. That means X into Y. Apart from this join, we have to access these X blocks like here. So this X plus this X into Y. So this is the access cost. Now as I already told you that this is comparatively smaller than this, because here the X is exactly half than this N. So instead of these equation, they can give you the values. So you just have to put the values and you have to give the answer. If they are asking the access cost for the nested loop join, just insert the values of X and Y. You will be getting the access cost for the same. Similarly, you can get the access cost in the block nested loop join. Now the access cost of block nested loop join is less than the access cost of the nested loop join if main memory space is limited. So this is the case of main memory space is limited. Now let's move on to the next test case. So in the next test case we are having the limitation. So what is the limitation over here? We are having 10 blocks in the main memory. So here what we can do is we can keep one block of the R relation and we can insert as many blocks as possible in the S relation, because for each relation R1 we have to map with the all the other records of the S. So this R1 record of relation R needs to map with the all the relations, all the records of the relation R. So this R1 will be mapped with S1, S2, S3, S4 and so on. So these B1 to B9 are done, and once this B1 to B9 are done, what we'll be doing is we'll be storing these 8 blocks, because if we completely replace these blocks and completely replace them by B10 to B18, then we have to again insert the new blocks, because of which the access cost will be high. So we are keeping these 8 blocks because every time we are getting a new relation here, we have to start from the B1. So we'll be reusing these 8 blocks. So the 9th block, only this 9th block will be replaced with the new block. So this R1 is mapped with all the relations. So once B9 is done, we will be moving on to the B10. Similarly up to BY, right? And once this is done, you will be taking a new block over here by replacing this and doing the same thing again and again. So what will be the access cost in this particular case? First is you have to access all these X blocks of relation R one by one. So this X plus, for the first time you have to access all these blocks of the relation S, because 1 to 9 we are accessing at one time, rest from B10 to BY we are accessing at the another time. So we are accessing this Y also. But for the rest of n-1 elements, so this is the case for the 1. For R1 we are accessing all the Y blocks. But from the next record onward, that means how many records are left? n-1 records are left. For those n-1 records, if we remove R1, all the n-1 records, we need to access how many records? Y minus 8, because these 8 blocks are already present in the main memory. Only this block needs to be replaced again and again. So we need not to access these 8 blocks. So it will be y minus 8. So this will be the access cost in the nested loop join format. Now what if we are using the block nested loop join? So if you are using block nested loop join, then again we are having the same pattern, like 1 of relation R and the rest of the 9 block of relation S. Here we have to map in a blockwise manner. So this is done similarly here. Similarly for all these. So once this block is done till B9, again we'll be storing these 8 blocks in the main memory, and we'll be replacing this B9 with 10. One we mapped with the record of B10 will be replacing with B11, and so on up to BY, right? So these are stored in main memory, just like these 8 blocks. Now once this is done, we will be inserting a new block B2 and replacing this B1. So here you can see what will be the difference. We have to access all these X blocks of relation R. So this will be X, plus for the first time we have to access all the Y block. So this will be Y. But for the next block, so how many blocks are left? Initially we did this block, but now X minus 1 blocks are left. So now this will be X minus 1, and for these X minus 1 we have to access only Y minus 8, because these 8 are already present. So Y minus 8 will be accessed. So you can clearly see that this is having less access time as compared to this, right? Now let's move on to the case 3. How many minimum main memory blocks should be allocated to store R and S records such that R and S join should be performed without any block repeated access using nested loop join algorithm? So here they are asking that how many block records, how many memory is required so that we do not need to repeatedly access any other block. That means we should access one block at one specific time. So how we can do that? See, let's say this is a relation X, or this is a relation Y, right? So what we can do here is, let's say that here we are having some values and here also we are having some values. So in the worst case, so in the best case, what we can do, we have to access only one record of the outer, but we need to access more record of the inner. So if the size of the inner relation is n, that means the minimum size required is n plus 1 for the outer relation. So what is the meaning? The minimum records out of these two. So let me explain it once again. See, we have to take one block at a time for the outer records, and for the inner records we have to access again and again, right? So if the size of the second block is minimum, then we do not need to access it again and again, because it will be already present in the memory. We have to just access the blocks of the outer record one by one, which will not be repeated, because every time we will be accessing a new block. So can we say that the minimum of X plus Y, where X is the number of blocks of relation R and Y is the number of blocks in relation S. So the minimum of X plus Y plus 1. So if Y is minimum, we will be keeping Y in the memory plus 1 record for the relation S. If X is minimum, we will be keeping the relation R in the memory plus 1 for the iteration of Y. So this is the minimum memory required to access or to perform the join operation without performing any block repeated access. So So I hope you got an idea that how the things are working, and in the next video we will be discussing the previous year GATE question on this particular topic. Till then, please watch the previous videos, and if you find this particular video useful, like this video, share it with your friends, and please subscribe the channel if you are new here. Thank you very much for your time. Keep supporting, keep learning. Have a great day.